Come to the next lines, which says to protect the you as you have offered and pleased the genuine gurus in the same way, and so I will do. And then here, of course, this is about how to please the guru. What is really nice to please the guru? And a quotation from Milarepa may help us to understand the main point. When we remember the first encounter of Milarepa with his guru Mapa, then he had nothing to bring and to offer. He came bare, empty-handed there, and he said to Mapa, well, sorry, I don't have anything material to give, but I truly offer you body, speech and mind, and all the accomplishment from my practice. This is what I will offer you. And Mapa had already hundreds of students, and many of them have presented him excellent gifts of gold and silver and jewels and food and whatever. So he had all this splendor of excellent offerings already received. Yet among all the 100 students, it was Milarepa that finally he recognized him to be the main and principal one. And he said in this one word, in the perseverance of Milarepa is the life of being of the practice. So it's because of the practice of Milarepa, his perseverance, that he has offered his accomplishment from his practice to his guru, that nowadays we speak of the Kagyu lineage. The fame of Milarepa was exceeding in everyone in all the directions, not only in the Kagyu tradition, well known, but beyond all partiality in all the traditions, he is recognized as being the accomplished master. So that happened. Initially, Mapa was treating him quite fiercely and was beating him up, but deep down he already recognized him as the most valuable student. So, but the real offering is about the offering of practice. Of course, it's nice to take care of the guru, certainly, and to give him nice food and the nice conditions, but the true genuine offering is the offering of practice. So what is this practice offering about? To offer to please the mind and the heart of the guru, we need to incorporate the instruction to really put it into practice. And the main core of that is again to soak our heart into love and compassion, empathy, affection. That affection has to be the main target of all our practice, has to be the main concern in our daily life. So in particular with the ones that we are close to. there is no much value if we keep nice samaya and say like to the teacher, but we fight among the other students. Then this actually just shows that we really haven't understood the main point of the instructions of the Guru, to the Guru. Keeping the heart bond to the teacher means that we keep the main message in our heart. The main message is loving kindness and compassion. So we have to connect to all the others in our surrounding and basically to all sentient beings with the notion of warm-heartedness, compassion and friendliness. Then really the heart bond is active, and then we have applied the teaching of the Guru. That is what pleases the Guru to the most, when we really live the compassion that he is trying to show. So this being the main core of the message, he says to us, you have pleased and offer to you and pleased to the Gurus, the genuine Gurus, in the same way then I bring to you all the clouds of offerings as that eternally should be blessing to you. So keep in heart the main message of Milarepa's life to understand what this offering to the teacher is. So may I eternally please you by all this offering clouds. Here it may be also helpful to recall a story from the life of the Buddha. And it is said that when people placed a huge container of gold right at the feet of the Buddha wouldn't even spend a glance of his eyes to that bunch of gold. He would just look at it. But if someone was there to have the heart full of compassion, he would earn a smile from the Buddha. The Buddha would show that he was pleased by the compassion in the heart of others. And when we look at the Bodhisattva vow and the verses that go along with that, when you say, okay, now I resolve to be of benefit, to seek for the benefit of others. I want to become the servant of all sentient beings. So at that moment, the Buddha smiles and says, okay, you're my son. You are, or son or daughter, you are my child of heart. When we decide to become the servant of all sentient beings, to be helpful to all sentient beings, in this moment we have truly understood the message, and we have adopted the compassion. So we become the heart son or the heart daughter of the Buddha in this moment. And this is the real importance of the Bodhisattva vow. When we think of the words, the meaning of the Bodhisattva vow, when we later recite after the vow, then it says, now I have been born in the noble family. Now I'm a heart child of the victorious one. Because of that.
거기서 거기 이용이 되고 소비스 파티를 되게 걸었고 또 생긴 상태가 무관의 비리지 제대로 근데 그다음에 무관 비리는 오늘 제대로 근데 생긴 상태 소리가 봐 그러니까 근데 몸이 그럼 그럼 비리지 누마이 상관없이 좀 어제 있잖아요. 그 빨리야. 또 너무 그 정리선이 너무 생 되는 너무 생 되는 너무 생각이 나이 통계에서 우리가 거의 사과는 힘들게 사과는 힘들기나 되나 너무 미안해. somebody who check you by the way, something you know, if you not the muscle and the key or you kill it, you're such as a son, from the someone young, you want to look, or the key or you want to get no. Said that we said it to if you are from the people, I'm the people for almost 70. 교수의 생 공유기 속도 그래서 보면 그런 소리 내려통 대부분은 소문이 끊기신 거잖아. 이 project 아니고 저거 된 상태에다가 세미대로 공유하고요. 이거는 제가 못하는 모르는 흔기 그거를 제가 맞이나 당시 반응이 오늘 통이야. 손다리가 말이 되나? 아무튼 상황이 재미를 먹었나? 여기에 따라 설명하고 여기에 따라 가자라는 설명을 하고 무슨 정리를 제작하는 다음에 이름을 내 정리를 뭐 채우는 이 설명 이름을 계속해서 내서 뭐 한데 되게 따라가는 내서 같은 게 뭐는 이게 되게 내 눈을 개를 하는 걸 잘하는 거야. 개를 하는 사람이 잘하는 데서 서운하고 그러면서 개를 그게 하는 거예요. 내가 이 사람이 저거 이렇게 다음에 차는 생기 남편사 잡생기 자신도 좀 들어서는 저거 이거는 돈이 다 자는 미식은 차이 저도 돈이 하고 오는 거 그거 어쨌든 요한이 왔을 때 돈이 있었는데 같이 따왔을 그러나들 많이서 가르치는 생긴 상태로 그거 안에 들어있는 무슨 이익이 그냥 멈추기 때문에 그리고 딸을 보면 항상 생긴 상태 다음이 같으니 저는 주인으로가 같은 기회는 내가 그거 받은 거 처음에 봤더니 무슨 일이라면 mateeraso qualche migliore alcune non parla di molto bene sempre famiglia stava lì un po' di papà amica più qualcosa.
So in the next verse it says, may I follow you in your example, your story of liberation in noble body, speech and mind. May there not be the slightest even difference between you and me, even for the size of one hair. And thus may I perform the immeasurable activity. So basically we are resolved to follow the example of the great teacher, the example of the Buddhas, and renounce that here and saying I want to follow your example by emulating your noble body, speech and mind. Well, what is that about? What's the noble body, speech and mind about? To adopt that as an example for myself, the same way as your body doesn't cause any harm to any sentient being, shall I now have any harm to others? And the same way as your speech communicates what liberates to all others, loving kindness, then shall I be of benefit for others? Your speech is of benefit for others, the same way may my speech be beneficial for all others. And in the heart, your heart, your noble heart, is the impartial, boundless compassion. We could also talk about non-referential compassion. Non-referential compassion is another word for understanding and abiding in emptiness. And maybe a little bit too tough for us to grasp, then we can speak about impartial and boundless compassion. So, in any case, the more of compassion that enter our hearts, and if our compassion becomes limitless to all sentient beings, then our body, speech, and mind are exactly like the ones of the teacher, of the guru, or the victorious ones. Then there is no difference, not even the slightest difference that we cannot even squeeze one hair in between. Exactly the same. So this is of extreme importance, since the quality of the mind has priority. When we talk about the action of body and speech, we can do a lot of nice action in body and speech, but if they're accompanied by a heart that is without compassion, lacking compassion, or a mind that is scattered and careless, then the action of body and speech does not entail much of good to come from. Yet, on the other hand, if our heart is focused on the friendliness and compassion and empathy for all sentient beings, unmoved from that compassion, even outwardly looking unskillful body and speech activity will bring the result of good. That means finally the attitude of mind decides whether it's a good or bad activity. If we were to rest in our mind just in compassion to all sentient beings, alone by that will be great benefit. And even if our action of body and speech happen to be a little bit unskillful, it will be transformed, it will be changed into something good. And it's like an alchemistic potion, which can turn ordinary iron into a piece of gold. So in the same way, the noble heart of compassion will change everything, transform it into something good. So this is what we should consider here, and it is said that the Buddhas, when they reach the state of the unbiased, limitless compassion, or they are in non-referential compassion of emptiness, then just within their mind they recall all sentient beings and all the realms of this world, and just by the power of samadhi they can perform the benefit for all and everyone. Well, this is the way to really follow in the footsteps of the teacher, by adopting the empathy into our heart.
그러니까 벌써 또 상민이 지키는 거예요. 상민이 그러는 거 벌써 이때는 마지막 보기는 로선 가서 떠오는 신화자와요 말이에요. 정말. 무슨 좋아한다. 강정병 강정부지요라. 그래서 전문이 그래서 갈아서 가는 서로 보이는 경우 따는 것들이 이제고요. 그래서 무슨 일이 말이에요. 오늘 공부하고 있어요. 이런 말이 있는데 막 그렇지는 다 마음을 보이는 강구하십니다. 모든 것들을 다 지고 서로는 다 배사사고 다 준주가 상태 가르지 보이는 지와 서로 내가시는 보이는 가르치는 상승이 자와내다. 마살 이쪽당 자와다. 마살이는 마이티가 상가 보고 이마지를 보여줄게나 딱히 이해적으로 말이에요. 서로 성격이 보여주는 거예요. 그다음에 라이담면서 너무 대답을 잘하고 그다음 나는 참 대학을 참 편하게 먹고요. 그 대답을 상디와 상가를 문제와 상디 같은 상디 다 싫은데 싫은 강요들 말을 버렸지. 그런 것은 이유들이 이거만 있었대. 나한테 기우시니까 훨씬 더 딱딱 참이거나 소는 만병을 토로들이 될때 내서 아무래도 이유를 봤다면 기초거든요. 거기서 좀 부탁드리고 미정이 누리세다고 자과를 본진적으로 내가 지내야 어디서를 소는 만병을 토로들이 자유도 어디 당황이 되는 거예요. 이 도통이 들어와서면 항상 되고요. 그래서 마음을 보고 되게 가만히 보면 딱 보고 공포체험이 가는 거예요. 다시 보고 가만히 기도해요. 그때도 우리 대답기도 서로 싸웠더니 용기 잡기 끊는 거예요. 서로 싸웠더니 또 다시 듣고 막 산쪽의 생물이 끊는 거예요. 산쪽 생물까지 끊는 거예요. 보고지를 갖고 자거나 사족 생명이 보고지 근데 또 기계 교육을 와서 내가 서로 상황을 보고 맞이고 기도로 말이 저는 또 보고지를 기계에서 봐야 훨씬 조금 바꿔보고 생기성세 희망사한테 도와줘봐서한테 근데 내가 소리는 그래서 내가 소라지는 내가 안 보나 소라 못사지 소라 딱 보지 그러면 이제 파마치로 왔어 저렇게 보다고 와서 사마도 비는 내가 제가 누리지 마 가야지 내가 청소와 추천 내가 요즘에 봐 용주 이제마다 보는 내가 당시 pension을 통해서 라자 제정 나서 봐 그러고 내가 이제 봐 저좀 이제 봐 그래서 내가 토익이 용기 상태 추천을 드리는 너를 유발하기는 동지가 도성도 제뭐 유발하기는 동쪽 대통령이가 버리기에 그 저쪽 선진이 땅이 된다고 상관에 있는 공부를 대통령 기시바에 있는 시합다 상진이 저쪽 상대가 나타나기에 내가 저쪽 또 벌써 상대가 된다고 내가 지내는 내가 참여를 매지상도 생기 유리기와는 몇 바퀴 동안이 이해가 되는 그런 인생대가 연구를 해요. 사실 정말 이해가 되는 그런 연구를 해서 그 강을 배우는 찌와지다 보자기는 이 저희는 저자 여러분 자동차 특구로 뭐라 찌와지 산소 생기 공기 맛이 산소 생기 맛이 난 자동차 좀 자동차고 나한테 제와도 유리면은 제와도 유리면은 나한테 카바바를 남는 생겨봐 연구를 나한테 이발에 나 이거 이발지가 지금 나한테 내가 박차고 카바바를 소원을 이렇게 같이 입고 나더니 이 좋아하는 작은 거야 그러다 보면서 좋아하구나 근데 뭐 같이 없으면 나만 이가 먹고 딱 저기 딱 빼야 보지 나이 고마성이 다니 고 탑재고요. 탑재고요. 그래서 이제 진짜 9번 30점 9번이 30점 줄이 6번 용어 고사하는 게 교환도 되고 얼마나 이거 성능이 9번이 9번 80점이면 또
그래서 니코버드가 해먹이 니코버드가 야구도
해먹이 니코버드 해먹이 니코버드 니가 진짜 뭐 니가 이거래 니가 이거래 니가 가리고 있는 나한테 이미 뽑지 카바가 니가 있는 거야 말이야.
Yeah, so this is the main thing to adopt, is the heart of compassion. The mind is the really has the priority to decide how the activity of our body and the speed will result in good or bad. And Rinpoche gave another example, saying how important it is to have this affection and compassion. Because we talk about emptiness and about understanding that there is no real I in a person. There's a great saying that says, where if you haven't adopted a loving kindness and compassion in your heart, even if you understand the absence of self, it will not result in enlightenment. Why is that? Because if we are moderately smart and follow reason, we can well understand that a personal I or self cannot be located. We can use all the reasons and say, well, it's not up and down, it's not in front and behind and whatever, so it's not findable, so actually this is a mere fiction, it doesn't exist and it never existed. But if that inside happens to us in a heart without compassion, can be the consequence. We say, well, there is no I, so basically it doesn't matter what I do. Everything is fine. And then we can just carelessly engage in whatever action, only need to cause a total ruin. So here we act as a superfool, as it is said, because we throw away the basis of goodness. Doing whatever comes to our mind and just carelessly act out, we will fuel all the intensity of mental affliction to no end, to just cause trouble and suffering to ourselves. So we'll end up in the lowest realm, in the middle of misery, by having negated and ignored the real cause of happiness. But on the other hand, if we train ourselves in friendliness, seeing all sentient beings as our caring mothers and fathers, and have more empathy in our heart, when this warmth of heart has grown up, then we will automatically have a state of mental peace, where there is no struggle of I and mine. The idea of I and mine, self-concern and self-worry fades away, naturally. With the heart of someone who is full of concern for others, there is no self-concern, so we no need to worry. It comes as a side effect and doesn't have to be implemented separately. So in that sense, it is of utter importance to join one's heart with compassion. And then automatically the activity of body and speech will be positive, and that is mostly in the form of the 6 parameters of the generosity, the well-behaving and the patience and so on. Patience is of great importance, because otherwise we cannot keep our empathy. This is much like when we have something very nice, we need a container to keep it in. And if, like, the best and nicest that we can ever adopt is the compassionate heart, it needs a container. That container is provided by patience. So when there is like the affection between the different students of a teacher or among friends, easy to get lost in some stupid struggle. But if your container is nice, it's like a wooden cup. So the wooden cups bang into each other, not much damage. But if you have just